So since we're starting to head towards the release of Storm 4, and Revolution starting to come to a close, I think it's about time I start talking about the worst characters in Naruto Storm Revolution. My main idea to do this is in contrast to the previous top 10 video I did, and I know I got a lot of backlash for that, so I'll probably come up with a revised list later on. But for now, I think my main focus is talking about the worst characters in Revolution. So let's go ahead and get straight to it. As in the previous video, I have to give a disclaimer that I'm in no way a professional in Naruto Storm games, and nor do I claim to be. So this is just going to be, again, my straight up opinion of the worst characters that I've seen in Naruto Storm Revolution, the top 5 worst characters. Alright, so coming in at number 5, we have Zabuza. His attacks are really slow, and they don't deal a whole lot of damage. His ultimate jutsu is pretty difficult to land, and it takes a bit longer to catch people with it than most nearsighted ultimate jutsus. His tilt is pretty useless, and his ninjutsu is probably the worst in the entire game. This water dragon, I can barely for the life of me get it to hit anyone. It's pretty terrible. Sorry, Zabuza fans. Up next, at number 4, we're gonna have PTS Choji. Oh, this is definitely gonna get me a lot of backlash with this, but even with his, like, when you're looking at his Shippuden version of him, he's still the slowest character in the game. His combos take twice as long to finish compared to most characters, and his ultimate jutsu is even worse than Zabuza's. You've got no range when you're doing this jutsu in front of Choji, meaning if the other person substitutes, they're not likely to get hit, unlike Zabuza's. And that's, you know, an advantage that a weaker character has. His ninjutsu is pretty okay at close range, but it has next to no chance of landing, even when used appropriately. His dashing and counter dashes are much less prioritized than other characters. It's pretty unfortunate. They made him a very much joke character since the beginning of the Storm series, and that's something I hope to see changed in Storm 4. Over here at number 3 we have PTS 1010. Now I know for sure this is gonna get people complaining at me, but I have a definite reason for placing her at number 3 and not at number 1. So she obviously number 1, she deals the lowest damage in the game, but that's not the only criteria that I'm basing the worst characters off of, so there is another element to why she is so much lower on the list. So PTS 1010 has one of the lowest chances of success in battle, as far as I've seen, when you rely on her basic O smash, or, you know, B on the Xbox. But when you're talking about her square, or your X, it's for Xbox controllers, when you're throwing shuriken, she deals a relatively balanced amount of damage in combination with her regular attack. So her ninjutsu also has a pretty good range, and they can be combined with, if she's a support character, to have a pretty balanced match. So there's a lot of reasons that she's lower on the list than number 1. Yeah, the priority of ranged characters in the Storm series has always been a problem, but in that regard 1010 could really use a nerf, or a balance, at least in Storm 4. But as far as everything else goes, she is number 3 because she has the weakest attacks in the game, so she remains 3 on this list. Drumroll please, coming up at number 3, we have Jiraiya. So as far as his speed is concerned, Jiraiya is really overlooked in many top tier players' eyes. His speed is really relative almost to that of Choji. His ninjutsu takes about like 1/16 of the map in range when he's landing it, and when attempting his Rasengan compared to the Kyuubi Naruto, who almost takes up the entire map in his range. So very slow and next to no range. Very slow Jiraiya. Okay, lastly at number 1, we have Kushina. Oh jeez, she was included as a joke character in Revolution, and she pretty much plays like a joke. Her movement and her attack speed are relative to Jiraiya and Choji. They're very slow. and she doesn't have an established balance in any other part of her character, so she doesn't have anything to make up for it. Her ninjutsu is very easy to avoid, and as is her ultimate jutsu with little range. But her overall battle design seems to just, be an afterthought. It's such a lazy implementation of a very useful character. Using a frying pan was just, really? Do we have to make that kind of joke to it? I'm not gonna jump on gun and call that sexist, but it's just blatantly lazy game design that didn't really have any effort put into creativity. There could have been so much backstory filled in with Kushina and Minato that went back to when they were young and getting. So just a lot of wasted potential here, and that's really why I want Kushina at number 1. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. I hope I didn't ruin your idea of Revolution with my opinions so much as I did in my last top 10 video, but I hope this meets some standards at least. From what I've experienced, these are pretty much the most painful characters to use online. I always regret whenever I pick on random and I see them pop up on the screen. I'm going to be working on more Naruto story videos actually coming up pretty soon. It's been a while since I've been working on them, like top 10 videos, but I'm going to start working on more now since Naruto Storm 4 is going to come up, and you're going to possibly see some more Evolution videos coming out. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, a revised list of my top 10, so it meets the standard of now how much more I understand. So, alright, that's it for me.